Who can you trust with your business? There are a lot of experts out there. How do you know if they are too legit to quit? Hey, find out on this week's Authentic Selling TV. There are so many experts. Like, I think that our generation, actually, I have no idea how old you are. So my generation should be called the nostalgia generation, because we love a good, cameo in a TV show, or bringing back Star Wars, or all the Spider-Men in the Spider-Man. Broke my brain. Loved it so much. But I also think that we could be called the expert generation, because in the past decade, there has been an incredible opportunity for experts of all kinds to share their expertise and get wealthy doing it. Now, like anything, there's good and bad to the expert generation, but there are some challenges that are presented from all of these experts jumping up and down with jazz hands, telling you what you need to do, why you need to do it now, or else. And so today we're going to talk about who can you trust with your business, with so many experts out there. Doesn't matter if you are a B2B sales rep and you are calling on other corporate, or you are an online entrepreneur or service provider selling your incredible service. There are times when you're going to want to strengthen your skill set. I remember when I was a pharmaceutical sales rep, I'm going to really date myself, but I went to 2 corporate sales schools, but I had pretty decent drives between office to office, town to town, even state to state. So I would put in cassette tapes and listen to Zig Ziglar's cassette tapes on selling, right? So even when I was B2B selling, I would look for ways to improve what I was doing beyond what they taught in sales school. And so there are lots of experts out there. So how do you know who to trust? Well, before we answer that question, let's dive deep into the scary side of this. Not to be all fear-mongering, but it's really important that you understand how critical it is to know who you're dealing with. So if you trust the wrong person, a couple of things are going to happen. Number one, if you are B2B, it's going to feel off in your body, like a dress that doesn't fit. It's just too tight or too big. It's just going to feel off. They're going to ask you or suggest that you do things that feel icky, sleazy, slimy, gross, crusty, musty, rusty, dusty. And it's going to be like, I just can't. Listen, I'm going to encourage you to listen to that feeling. I'm going to encourage you to listen to that feeling, because that is your body. That's your sales guardrail saying, no, stop in the name of authentic selling. If it starts to get icky, find a better way. And so really slow that down. That thing that the expert on your cassette tape or whatever is telling you to do, slow it down and ask yourself this question. What is it that I'm trying to accomplish by doing this thing, right? Why is the expert telling me to do this? So an example of this might be, every sales expert is going to tell you to follow up. And if that feels like a dress that doesn't fit, or icky, sleazy, slimy, gross, crusty, musty, rusty, dusty, stop, slow that down and ask yourself, what are we trying to accomplish by following up? Now, if you're like me, you're like, duh. I don't know. Does anybody say duh anymore? Duh. We're trying to get a sale. Of course you are. But what are you trying to do by following up, right? You're trying to bring yourself back to top of mind. You're trying to reiterate the benefits of your product. You're trying to schedule a lunch or whatever. So really slow it down and ask yourself, what am I trying to accomplish by this, right? Why is the expert telling me to do this? And if that thing that they're telling you to do feels icky, sleazy, slimy, gross, crusty, musty, rusty, dusty, think outside of the box. Once you're clear on this is the reason that they're asking me to do this, the next question is to say, is there a different way that I can accomplish the same thing that feels expansive? That feels like a deep breath, that feels the opposite of a dress that's too big or too small. So first things first is, if you find yourself in a situation, no matter what you're selling, whether it's coaching, consulting, or cell phones, and an expert has asked you to do something that feels icky, sleazy, slimy, gross, crusty, musty, rusty, dusty, I have sold enough to know that you being you and you finding a way to accomplish the same outcome without doing something that feels gross is the way to go. People are going to respond to that. They're going to feel your energy like attracts, and they're going to want to be around you and do business with you. So that's kind of a disclaimer here. But how do you know, right? Like if you go to Barnes & Noble, I'm sure most of you are not going to look at cassette tapes anymore, but if you go to Barnes & Noble and you look in the selling section, there are all these books by men. Or if you Google or search on YouTube, all these videos pop up. As a matter of fact, Jess and I were talking last night. She was searching on YouTube and she's like, other than you, Kendrick, we've got like how to sell on Etsy, how to sell real estate. We got a bunch of dudes telling us how to do it. And we got you. And so you've got these options, right? So how do you know what option works for you? Well, number one, don't be impressed by huge numbers. That is a part of the story. It is not the whole story. So you may see consultant number one or expert number one saying, I've made $19 million last year. And that's great because who doesn't want to make $19 million? I mean, yeah, I do. But the numbers are only part of the story. Same thing in the online business world. The testimonials are part of the story. They're not the whole story, right? And so numbers can be your way in. They can be your knock, knock, knock on the door to see what the expert's all about. But the next thing I'm going to encourage you to do before you attend a webinar, before you buy the tape, before you buy the book, and if you are watching this and saying, what's a cassette tape? Don't tell me. I don't want to know. It's just going to make me feel really bad about myself. It's like streaming expert advice, right? It's what we did way back when. What was your first cassette tape? Mine was New Edition. Cool it now, Mr. Telephone Man. Little young Bobby Brown. Anyway, so step number one is your numbers, right? The numbers can get you in. It's the shiny window dressing. Like, ooh, I like that. I'm going to go in and see what this is about. Step number two, before you attend the webinar, before you buy the book, before you stream the stuff is do your research. Okay? Let me tell you what I mean by that. For example, I use myself as an example a lot because who knows me better than me, right? I don't want to use somebody else. It's easy to use myself. I am not an expert at many things. I often joke that I am an expert at two things. Number one, I'm an expert at loving my daughter. I love her so dang much. And I am also an expert at selling. Now, I might be a New Kids on the Block expert and I might be a Broadway expert. But other than that, the two things I am really good at, loving my daughter more than anything in the world and selling. So what this means is I know my lane and I stay in it. So if you wanted to come to me to learn how to invest in venture capital, that's not the right way to say that. See, I'm clearly not an expert there. Or if you wanted to know how to make the perfect chocolate chip cookie, the answer is no. If you need help with your algebra, I am not the best person for you. But even in the business building realm, if you wanted to learn about Facebook ads, I'm not the person to teach you. So what are we doing here? Wait, Kendrick, this is feeling an awful lot about you. I got it. So let's back that thing up. We are talking about step two of understanding who you can trust in this expert generation of doing your homework. Step one is let the numbers draw you in, right? There's proof of concept there with testimonials, with incredible numbers. Step two, before you watch the webinar, before you get on the cell phone, before you ask around is do your homework. How long have they been in business? What do they claim to be an expert about? Why are they an expert? For example, I am completely comfortable saying I am an expert at selling. Expert's a triggering word, but I am completely comfortable saying I'm an expert at selling because I was a top performing sales rep for 3 Fortune 500 companies. I graduated top in my class from 2 corporate sales schools. I've been teaching online consultants and corporate to sell without the ick, the sleaze, the slime, the sludge for over a decade. I created the #1 sales process online for your business. This is not a woohoo, Kendrick, so incredible, but dang, if I've been around for 2 decades, teaching, selling, that is half my life. I damn well better be an expert, right? And so do your homework. Beyond the testimonials, go to their about page, read about the expert. You know, my dear friend and sales expert Bob Berg is a 7-time best-selling author around selling. Where did he get that knowledge? Knocking on doors and selling people. So you better believe he's got some genius to share. So step 1 is get drawn in by the numbers, by the press, by the sexy stuff. Step 2, before you buy anything, before you ask around, is you do your homework. Get to know them. Read their about page. How did they become an expert? Now, some of you may be thinking, but I'm new, so I don't have that. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but that's not true. If you are a service provider, you have expertise. You are asking people to pay you for your expertise. So you need to have some hard-won wisdom that you are imparting on people. And spoiler alert, this is a little bit about the ethics of experts. Just because it worked for you doesn't mean it'll work for everybody else. I roll about, I manifested my way to my first $1 million year. And so now I'm going to teach all of you people how to do it. Yeah, you need a little bit more proof of concept. Just because you did it, like that is an indication that you might be onto something. But if you are not able to bend and tweak your process to meet the needs of varying people, you're not an expert. You're just good at what you do for yourself. So step 1 is know the numbers. Step 2 is read the about page. Get to know, why are they an expert? Feel them out. Use your guardrail. Do you get I want to run to you, or I want to run away from you feeling, right? Trust that. Then step 3 would be ask around. You know, ask around. So not just the testimonials, but hey, has anybody worked with this person? What was your experience? Or download a free chapter of their book, or take a free webinar. Now, here's the thing. Be very aware that a free webinar is meant to sell you, right? I mean, you know, it's meant to show you the best of what people are doing. A free chapter is meant to sell you on buying the whole book. So you have to go into that with eyes wide open. But after you do those 3 things, you should have a pretty good indication of, yeah, this person's a true expert. They know their lane. They stay in it. I've even seen them admit when they're wrong, right? That's a really good indication that you don't have an ego expert, which we'll talk about what an ego expert is later. It's pretty self-explanatory, but anyway. So you should have a good idea. Are their numbers compelling? Are their results compelling? You know, have they been doing this for a long time? Do they have data that shows that their process works? Number 2, what's their about page say? Why are they an expert? Why should you trust them? Do they know more than you know about this thing? And then step number 3 is try out their content, right? Download a free chapter. I lost my train of thought. Take a webinar. Like, make sure, just because they are an expert and just because they have really good numbers, you still have to put it past the guardrail check. Is it icky, sleazy, slimy, gross? Are they going to tell you to make people feel guilty while selling? Yeah, probably not for me. So those 3 steps will help you understand who you can trust. Because let's face it, if you're going to devote your hard-earned free time to getting better at anything, selling, knitting, filming, acting, whatever, you want to make sure that you're learning from someone that's going to enrich your life, someone that is going to enrich your business and make you better. What we don't want, as we kick 2023 off, is for you to buy from an expert because they got really shiny numbers because everybody says they're incredible, and then you have buyer's remorse and be like, I can't do that. It feels gross. Or this didn't work for me. So when you get all excited and you're like, I need an expert, just like I need a hero. I need a hero. What's that? Footloose. I'm holding on for a hero till the end of the night. Make sure that you do your homework. Don't get swept up in the emotion of, ooh, see this, need this, gotta buy this now. Do your homework. Because understanding who you can trust for your business is going to ensure that you have better relationships with your consultants and better relationships in things that grow your business. Now, I'm going to give you one little bonus tip here, which is kind of where we started this. There are a lot of experts out there, right? And let's just talk about building an online business. You've got people telling you you need to do this for your website. You need this kind of web copy. You need to do this foundational program. You need to do this Facebook ads program. You need to do this Instagram program. You need to do this sales program. I mean, I'm tired just talking about it. But there is an order of operations to these things. And so as you are thinking through experts and who to buy from and when to buy, ask yourself this question: what problem do I need to solve now? And all of these things are going to tell you, we get you more customers, we get you more customers. But you really need to, again, slow things down and say, you know, I just purchased a class that taught me how to write great copy. Do I need to purchase another class that teaches me how to write great copy? Maybe you need to try that copy on and take it out for a run. And so really ask yourself, what problem do I need to solve now? And spoiler alert 2.0, the 3 big things you need to solve before you buy anything else, like a Facebook ads or Instagram, is how do your people find you? How do you engage with your people so that they want to buy from you? And how do you close your people? Because if you're not doing those things, then showing up on Instagram differently doesn't matter. How do people find you? How do they engage with you, get to know you, trust you, your expertise? And how do they buy from you? How do you close them? And those are the 3 steps to every plan I create for our customers. Because if they don't know you, they can't buy from you. And if they're not interested enough to want to learn more, they're on to the next expert. And if you don't close them, you've wasted everybody's time. So those are your 3 things. Before you write different copy, before you build a new website, we got to make sure that you can find and close your people. And that is what authentic selling does. So your 3 steps for identifying your experts and knowing who to trust in this business. Number 1, use the bright, shiny numbers, the testimonials, the 7-time award-winning PR person, whatever. Number 2, do your own homework. Slow things down. Read their about page. Why are they an expert? Did they just stumble into this and say, oh, it worked for me, so it'll work for thee? That's a hell no. Hell no. And then step 3, sample their content. Get a feeling for it. Get a feeling for what they're teaching you and what they're asking you to do. Ask around. Find out what other people are saying. So this channel in 2023, you know, you're not probably supposed to say 2023 because in 2024 somebody will see that and be like, yawn, this is old news. But this channel in 2023 is geared towards doing a couple of things differently this year. And that is really leaning into trust and transparency. It's no mistake that our first video of the year is about who can you trust, right? Kind of the sort of a little bit of the ethics of experts, because we want you, when you are coming here, when you are searching, when you are learning how to find and close more customers, that you know, I'm not going to give you baking tips. I'm not going to give you Facebook ads tips. I'm going to give you sales tips. You can trust that I know what I'm talking about there. And about transparency, because if I've learned anything in the last 10 years teaching this stuff, it is that life happens. I used to say all the time, I'm in this season of life where things are just wild. You know, we had a death in the family. We had this, Hallianna's sick. And I've come to realize that's just life, right? And we're just in life. And so with that comes a level of transparency that I don't think we find in the online world too much, or in the corporate world of, yeah, this really sucked and I couldn't get out of bed today. So let me tell you about this and how I navigated it. So when that happens for you, if it happens for you, you have a point of view that you can reference so you don't feel so alone. So this channel, our videos are set up to do 3 things for you in 2023. Number 1, sales expertise. How do you find more customers? How do you find more customers and close more customers? That's it. That's what we do. We do it better than most people out there. without the ick, the sleaze, the slime, the sludge, the crusty, musty, rusty, dusty, right? How do you sell more in a way that feels good? And it doesn't matter if you are B2B or if you are B2C, if you're online, offline, what we share in 2023 is going to help you close more customers. Boom. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to give you proven expertise. You can trust that I know my lane, as my eye itches. I know my lane and I'm going to stay in it. And then the third thing is transparency. I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, the hard, the easy, I will never do that again. So that you have some points of reference as you face those things in your life or your business. And then occasionally you're going to get a pop culture reference, a Broadway reference, a New Kids on the Block reference, and a ridiculously embarrassing story, because why not? So that's what we've got for you in 2023. I don't know about you. I'm feeling 23. Before you leave, I need you to do me one more favor. If this sounds like something you want, sales expertise to help you close more customers, trust that I'm going to stay in my lane and give you proven concepts, and transparency about when things go sideways, please ring that bell. Ring that bell. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. I believe in you, and I believe in your business. Bye, y'all.